Okay, jumping into this. So my solo queue tier, my solo queue tier list. I guess I should put solo queue squads. It's solo queue squads. Solo queue squads. Done. Okay. All right. Aye. So, starting off, this is going to be a tier list here for what characters are best to go grind your solo queue ranked games in squads and what's going to allow you to carry your game. Because when you're playing with random people, you just got to take control of things. The more you rely on supporting your allies indirectly, the more you're going to have issues with relying on the randomness of the game's matchmaking, which will eventually let you climb over time, but will take a lot longer. So we're not going to do that here at the Dunmere stream. Starting off with Bishop. Bishop, I think, is a very powerful character for this. She just has, like I've talked about, she has the ability to take any single individual and then go, you know, ult, let's set it up. It'll be funny really quick. Let me. All right, we got Brall's not a good example. Yeah, boy, this is a perfect example. Anyway, and she has the ability to sit there and go like, boom, and like blow him up, right? Hit him, shoot him with a primary fire, bounce off, and then punch him into the wall and shoot him, and he's dead. Right, great, mission accomplished. That's the kind of sadness that you can do to someone on Bishop, and so you can just eradicate an enemy team. And see, when you're playing solo queue, what will help a lot is being able to take enemies out of the game that are strong, right? And so you're going to want to sit there and blow people the hell up by yourself. What's up, Venomous? How we doing? And so you go ahead and get to eradicate any individual, and you're really good at countering what's strong in the meta right now, which is you'll see a lot of Oath, and you'll see a lot of you can't see him, Oath, and see a lot of Hudson here, right? You punch Oaths in the face into walls. You are good at countering and canceling Hudson's stationariness by ulting onto him or just punching him in the face, and it'll oftentimes be stacked up, so you get to stun him against his own teammates, right? So Bishop, big strong, very good, just single target eradication, and she's just really valuable for her mobility to go and res her own teammates back up. That's really good for ratting out some extra points with her mobility being so insane. And there's just a lot that you can do for this kind of stuff, right? So then we're going to go on to Brall. Brall, I think, is still quite strong in terms of solo queue. Maybe not quite as insane as some other characters are. I think his damage is not the absolute most powerful, and I think Brall gets a lot of value from just, you know, being in your back line, right? Being in your back line, terrorizing. And the issue is that when you have that, you need someone to be able to support you, right? And Brall doesn't get quite as much value from that as because he has to do that, right? Where you have other characters that just put more direct damage output, and it's all about directness, right? Yeah, you can stun, yeah, you can frag, great, but not quite as much as other characters. And so, and on top of that, you know, to counteract that though, and why he's still really good, he still has excellent utility, he still has excellent, insane mobility to go secure reses, grab most wanted, just torque around the map for an hour. So it's not like he's bad, but I'd say he's A tier, I think. It's pretty reasonable. Right. Alrighty, jumping into my friend Void here. Void in my duos tier list got like B tier. In my the one I just made, my squads, yeah, my regular squads like ranked grind tier list, he was in B also. Wow, he's B tier. But in this one, I'm gonna put him in kind of like meh tier TBH. I mean, that's pretty poopy tier if I'm being 100%. I think he is, and I'm gonna put him in D. Fuck it. Yeah, nah, he's okay. Anyway, he's like a C tier. He has the advantage of having big damn, big I stun you, I blow you up, I ult you, and be able to like do a lot of stuff by himself. It's just that you need your team supporting you. Void by himself is pretty weak. A Void with teammates to support him is a lot stronger. but you don't want to rely that in solo. You don't want to rely on that in solo queue, right? Because you can't. And so the issue of why, other than that, he doesn't have the same thing is that he really wants to have his team play the macro of the game in a specific way. He really wants to have his team go and help him secure important powers / give him important powers like invis cloaks, delicate cloak, the invis one, the grappling hook, blink stone. These will take him and make him an insanely different character, like literally not the same character. And the thing is, you just have a hard time getting that in solos, so not that great, right? So moving on to my little Shrike buddy here. Shrike is always going to be controversial, and she is just not a very good character in general. She has this effect where at the beginning of the game, like, she's really strong, the worse players are. She's really strong, and then she loses her value, right? Because people learn how to limit the time that she can look at your face. And the utility she has to make it so she can look at your face is not nearly as powerful as other characters, like myths, bishops, what else? Ghosts, like capability to just attack you through walls, or Joule's ability to attack you through walls, and better like neutral, right? Way more mobility too. And so Shrike's just really not that good, right? And Shrike has this issue where she is like, sure, she just clicks on people, so it's not like she's like, in terms of solo queue, I guess I'd put her a little bit upward than I would normally, maybe. I want to put her in super poop tier, but I'm gonna put her in like a similar tier to Void. She has the same problem as him of needing support from teammates to be able to reliably like play the game. But the issue is that he doesn't, or she doesn't have a very good, like I said earlier, she's limited. She needs teammates to support her. She does output big damn, but yeah, so needs help. And the thing is, she's just not very good. Just not that good. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I mean, she's C tier is fair. C tier is fair. Right. Alright. Celeste. Celeste, in my regular squads tier list, I popped her butt up at like B-ish tier or something like that. Gosh, I'm just spoiling everything. Look. Go watch both videos, guys, please. Or I'll cry. I'll cry. I put her in B-ish tier, right? But the thing about her right now is that she is a very indirect character. Characters have levels of directness in terms of how they get their output. A character like, where's the best example? Jhin is about as direct as they go, right? Homeboy jumps on top of you, and when he's on top of you, he is outputting damage, you know? And that's it. He's stunning you, updoing damage, whatever. Same thing with Felix. Felix is on top of you, he's getting direct shields for himself, he's directly anti-healing, and he's directly applying a bunch of damage, right? Versus a character like Celeste that gets a lot of value indirectly by manipulating the positioning of enemies. Manipulating the position of enemies, zoning them with her ice spears, and doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and zoning people with her ultimate, right? And she requires more setup to get like a good ultimate out also. And the thing about solo queue is you don't want that to be the case, right? You don't want to have to be dependent on something else, which is what this is requiring. So because of that, she's also in like C tier, I'd say. But higher C tier, I think. Because she has a lot more escapability, right? So really these guys need to be like over here, and she should be like in the high of C tier. Like she's C+ type shit. Right. She does have the ability to escape and secure reses, which is like kind of justifies her, and you know, is going to make a really good Celeste player solo, be up at B, not very, you know. Whereas like Void just doesn't have that option, and Shrike just doesn't really have that either. So, yep. Alright, Ghost. Ghost, I think, is pretty darn good solo. He has the ability to frag enemies without having to commit on them. Meaning that if your allies feed, you get to yeet, right? And so you can sit there and just spam. He also has the ability to basically solo wipe a team. He can like literally walk up, throw his nade on the wall, Or let's put it in this one. He stands here, he walks up, you know, throws his nade in the wall, and then that garbage blows up in a cone, boom, boom. That hits these two guys into the wall, and then they're taking big damage. He drops ult on top of their heads. They're dead. He's killed one or two. You know. And so it's juicing. We're juicing with this character. He does have like not the absolute best movement, right? So he's not quite as good as like a bishop, but I would say I would think he justifies maintaining his A tier that he got for the squads version. Myth is big strong still. She has the same powers that Ghost. She has basically everything that Ghost does for the most part, but she has more mobility. Well, it's not quite true. She trades the mobility for like AoE stun capability is what she trades it for. But it doesn't mean she's bad, because she has just very useful mobility to escape and res with, to go on good flanks with. She does a lot of damage, and what you'll notice in like uncoordinated games is that people just kind of play not slower intentionally, but just like less intentionally, and her raw damage is poking from range, and her rain of arrows are things that punish unintentional gameplay, right? Just standing around, toss arrows in. Oh no, what's happening to us? Oh, we're antied, right? Boom. So I think she's also S tier. Right. So moving on to Hudson here. Hudson is quite a juicer at the moment. He just does a lot of value. He's a stat check right now, but he's a stat check with a lot. Like, he's a stat check that nothing stat checks, except for maybe Shiv. Well, whatever, kind of. Like a really close range. If she dodges some of his stuff. But he's also got a lot of utility. And the realistic stuff of it is just like, you are just clicking the crap out of people, and you have a lot of mobility, and you have the ability to just toss your barbed wires behind enemies on top of yourself to protect yourself. Like, you don't need allies, really. He's just broken. Like, I don't really know what to say. Like, it's just put this boy up in S tier. Like, go have fun, guys. Go click on people. Go play Bastion. Jhin. Jhin is really good for this stuff. He will just eradicate. You can just take it and you'll run around the map and go find that single enemy person and go blow them up. And the thing about solo queue is, like, if you can just guarantee that you wipe a player every single fight, like, at least you're getting the kill points. But you're also like just gonna win a lot of fights, you know? And you can just walk around and like take people by surprise and blow them up. And with this sort of character, like, you can just do whatever you want to. And just go find a target and blow them up and go have fun, right? You TP onto an enemy, they are going to be not that coordinated, maybe, because there's a higher chance that they're also not in a group. And you don't require anything from your team, really. You just kind of wait for the fight to start and then just go blow them up, boom, dead, easy clap. I think he's also S tier. All right, Joule. What do I think about Joule? Joule, I think, is very good for solo queue too. She has that same just raw damage output, excellent mobility to escape with. She has the ability to knock people away, or like knock people away from you, pull people towards you, or pull them away from you, right? So she can keep people away from her long enough to stack them up. She can blow them up with her damage, and she has mobility to escape, to res, or chase things down. There's nothing else you could really want from her. So she's also like getting exactly what you want. Not to mention, you can team fight. If there's any character that can really like just beat a whole team by themselves, it's Joule. And yeah, moving on to our Shiv here. Shiv is super good for solo queue. She has all the benefits of the character like Brall and Jhin, but she has just huge AoE damage, and people have to be really coordinated to deal with her. And, you know, she doesn't need support from allies that much, to be honest. She does have, like, she is better with certain powers like Grappling Hook and Blinkstone, like Void, but she doesn't need them, right? She's really good at 1v1ing, so she can do the same thing that Jhin can to some extent. She's just really powerful. She'll jump on top of you, she'll huge AoE damage you, She'll blow you up. Like, potentially a whole team blow up, get resets, get HP off of it. Like, she's a character that's built to 1v4. TBH. All right. Felix. Felix, I think, is similar, but not quite as much. Because he doesn't have the same raw damage output. And his power comes from hitting his ultimate into enemies, basically. And so you're going to struggle earlier in the game to do a lot, and you're going to struggle if your team isn't with you and isn't available. You do need a team that's like somewhat competent, right? You can't go like the amplifier build and just sit there and like spam from range and try and like play like your sniper and burn people to death, because your team's not going to let the fight get taken slow enough, basically. So you're going to not get as much value. But he's kind of like a budget Shiv when it comes to solo queue. And it's not like he's bad, because you still can solo stat check an enemy, right? Walk up to them, pop your fire from behind, dash into them, and you can kill that guy, right? It's just not as easy it is on Gen. And you don't have the same mobility to escape with afterwards. So I'm putting him in B tier. Right, Kingpin. I low-key think that people that play Kingpin are just really goated at the character, like that like put a lot of effort into it, and they're more mechanically gifted on average. I think he doesn't get value if you don't pop off with your mechanics. And it's not even like you have to pop off that much, it's just you really have to do it. You have to be consistent. And reality though, he's not that strong when it comes to just your ability to like solo fight. Kingpin is good at taking one target, pulling him into your team, and having your team blow him up. Or taking a single target into an isolated 1v1 that you slam and burn them in, right? He's not good at taking on multiple teams. If more than 2 people look at him at any given time, he's not going to be able to do what he needs to. And so, you know, the way to compensate with some of this stuff is to do like, you know, give him these powers of grappling hook, bungee, blingstone. But again, you're requiring your teammate helping you get that, right? And your teammates playing well to help you not lose those, and all that kind of jazz, right? So that's why he's getting a pretty low rating, TBH. I'd say he's still better than Celeste, but nothing super duper insane, right? Because he is very direct. He will still frag a character. It's just that he lacks the mobility to go res afterwards, like, and he'll get chased down and killed. And he just kind of doesn't have that same raw value, you know, or the same raw value to escape. And he has a big hitbox, and you'll get tanked, and you need your allies to help you a little bit. Right, moving on. Alrighty, to the support characters, the characters that heal at least. Oath, I think is, so like I said, in the squads and stuff like that, and as a general character, power wise, I think he's like played at a high tier skill level. I think he's like super duper giga busted, TBH. But he is somewhat indirect in terms of how the damage output goes through. If you go through like a really high damage build, then he does do a pretty good amount of damage, but he's not like super duper insane. If you're looking for a character to play of this variety that heals, or you're looking for a tanky character, I think he's your best option. You know, I don't know. I don't really know if he's like your absolute best option, because you have a character like Felix, right, that can compete in terms of some of that stuff, or like, you know, controlling space, or not controlling space, but like creating havoc in the backline. He does have the ability to turn a lot of 1v1s and stuff like that, and he can win a lot of 1v1s. It's just a lot of your value comes from supporting your teammates, filling them up, rezzing them, and it's all indirect, right? The raw damage he applies is not the highest in the game. So I think he's also somewhere in the B tier. Yeah, basically any sort of tanky characters that are designed to produce value for their teammates, disrupt enemies, create space, they're not going to be the best, right? But these characters are kind of overkitted in general, so they get a lot of, or just stat checky in terms of Fox. And so you can get a lot more value from that. But yeah, all right. or you're gonna get more value than like you could realistically on this type of character, but nothing compared to these damage characters that are just gonna poop on people, and you know, right? Why would help your team when you can just kill the whole enemy team? Zeph. All right, so moving on to the support, like the healers. You might look at Zeph and go, yeah, he's a healer, but he can't help. He can't help a team. That's just like low-key not true. This character is a damage in disguise. TBH. He's a damage in disguise. He does big damage from his nade can like full wipe. His primary is strong. His ultimate's really powerful. His value is somewhat indirect because a lot of it comes from healing. He doesn't heal himself that much. So he still has some of the issues, but you can still do a lot in this character. Right? His movement is pretty solid. He can he is like good in a team fight, so you can take like advantage of teammates that are okay, right? And or pretty good, and you can like choose one to support that you know is gonna be better while you're still trying to frag. But the ability to like solo win a team fight with your nade is like really strong. So I think I want to put him in like high, like really high B tier, I think is what I would say. Right. So on to our last little homegirl here, Bunny, a little furry creature herself. Her fingers are nasty, by the way. I don't know if you guys have seen them. Ugh. I messed it up again. Bunny is not actually going to be in D tier. I'm going to put her there for now because I don't want to keep holding on to this. But she is a very indirect character. The only really direct thing she has is her mobility is good, so that's good. She's not horrible. But she has, you know, a lot of her value comes from her backpack or her ultimate. Both of which require to either an ally to die and then she reses them afterwards, or for her to like try and pocket an ally. And you have to have good allies that are going to take advantage of it. If you pop your heal on them and they jump in, they don't do anything, it doesn't matter, and there goes your ultimate, right? And just in that single example, it's like, why do that when you could have Zeph just toss a huge AoE damage knockback to try and stun a fleeing enemy or just cleave through a whole enemy team, right? And her heal is just really not that crazy. And so, whereas, you know, Zeph has the nade and is similar in some ways, but has more damage and has this big nade, Elluna don't really have that. So I think I'd put her in like the C tier. She's nothing insane, really. But she still can root and frag. It's just you have to be like quite good at it, you know. Maybe I'd put her in the lowest tier. Like I think she might be like the worst in terms of some of the stuff, TBH. I think she's the most dependent on her allies. So yeah. All right, chaps, thanks for clutching up with that. I saw your message, JTE Bench. I'll give you a really quick up to speed on Bishop. Bishop is a Bishop's really good. She just has the ability to hard stun enemies pretty reliably with 2 different ways and stun lock a single target and delete them. You ult onto an enemy from out of screen, hit them, shoot them, punch them into a wall, shoot them again, and they're low or probably dead, right? While she still has 3 dashes to escape with. So even if you like don't kill them, you escape. And if you kill them, you can continue pushing, you can escape. She's just really strong. I think people like probably overuse her. They probably spend too much time just like shooting at people and then tossing her little rockets. Whereas they need to look for opportunities to full engage or just jump and punch.